get the surprise
Oh my God.
of a lifetime.
Charlie, will you marry me?
No, it's too sudden. She's in shock.
Yes!
You're gonna need a moment alone. I'll be right back.
I need something stronger than this.
Maybe you should go check on your mother.
Oh, it is one of the most dramatic love triangles of all time. Mother, son, and the son's wife. Our Bonds columnist, Elizabeth Bernstein, she has an advanced look at new, yet-to-be-published research that sheds light on why this trio can get messy when he puts a ring on it. And joining her to talk about how to keep the peace is Sylvia McCookie-Inyart, assistant professor of communication at the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about this new study. What are the moms so worried about when their sons get hitched?
Well, mother-in-laws really have a lot of questions, and one of the things that we find is sons typically get pulled into their wives' families, and so wives are what we call the kin keepers of families. You know, they make the plans, they invite people over for dinner and things like that. And if they have a somewhat contentious relationship with their mother-in-law, they're more likely going to make those plans with their own family and their own social network. And the husbands kind of just tag along and do what the wives say, in a sense. And so mother-in-laws tend to be really worried about losing their sons, not just to the daughter-in-law, but to their social network. And they also seem to have questions about how the daughter-in-law is changing the son. So suddenly his interests are different, or he likes something that he didn't like when he lived at home. And that brings a lot of worries for them, and kind of some questions and discomfort during that transition.
And interesting that it's happening with the sons and not so much the daughters. Elizabeth, you interviewed one couple. They almost got divorced because of the tension between the mother and the wife. And, you know, reading some of their story, it's the husband didn't seem to be doing enough to stand behind his mate. What did they ultimately do to save their marriage?
Well, it's interesting because it was a mother-in-law and a wife who were really not getting along, and the husband said his inclination was to bow out and go mow the lawn. He didn't want to have any part of it, which I think is a natural natural reaction. But so what they did is really pull away for a while, and the mother-in-law realized, you know, this is, I'm going to lose them, that this is, I better sort of step up. And so that was part of it. That was a big part of it.
Doctor, I feel like we often hesitate to place blame on anybody, responsibility on anyone, but you say in this case it is often on the man to keep the peace. Why is that?
Well, he needs to be the glue that holds them together, because it's not wise for a daughter-in-law to go in to the mother-in-law and say, we need to change these things, or, you need to kind of respect our boundaries, because she doesn't know the communication patterns that have been long established in that family. And the mother-in-law might, then hurt the daughter-in-law's feelings or cross boundaries if she directly confronts the daughter-in-law. So it's really that son that needs to be that mediator. And actually, both mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law appear to prefer that. They would rather kind of not have to directly deal with one another and have their husband/son, in essence, do the dirty work for them. And it kind of keeps the peace. And then it also shows to the mother-in-law that the priority for the son is now the daughter-in-law, and that's where it should be. So he should be going to bat for his wife.
Elizabeth, if the son doesn't step up to the plate, what advice have you got for the mothers and for the daughters-in-law, in fact, and for that matter?
Well, if he doesn't step up, I think the mothers-in-law and the daughters-in-law, they really need to see that they're both on the same team. They both love this man, in different ways, but they love him and care about him. So maybe they aren't being fair to keep him or put him in the middle as well. So maybe backing off, trying to picture what the other person is worried about. Understanding my mother-in-law's worried about losing her son. Maybe I'll try to keep her a little more involved. That kind of thing.
All right, Elizabeth Bernstein, more insight from that and more on the new study from the doctor in the Personal Journal section tomorrow. Thanks to you both for being here with us.